Can this player save the defense? Is Kliff Kingsbury his own worst enemy? And who's getting cut at the end of the season? It's Tuesday, which means it's time for another week of the Commanders' top 5 hot takes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we are here to turn up the heat on the Washington Commanders season just a little bit on this beautiful Tuesday. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a weekly series that comes to the channel where I give 5 hot takes and rank them in order of least to most likely in terms of what's the coldest to the hottest take. Now, in this particular episode, I got to be honest, we don't have a bunch of cold takes. A couple of them maybe a little lukewarm. So you'll see when we transition and you get the screen change, you get the graphics showing you what the takes are. Pay attention to the thermometer on the side because that indicates how hot I believe of a take that this actually is. Guys, we're about to get into what I have prepared for you all today. But before we do, make sure you hit the like button. You guys know what to do. The reception recently on the channel has been awesome. About a month ago, YouTube changed something with the algorithms. Kind of put my channel in the dump for a little bit, but we have bounced back so strongly. And it's all because of you guys, and I appreciate you tremendously. So if you are here watching the video, enjoying the content, whatever, just want to support the Commanders, do hit that like button. And to the new viewers here, hit that subscribe button as well, because I'm coming out with videos every single day. So one homework assignment for you all. At the end of this video, I want you to write down what takes stuck out to you, what you agreed with, what you disagreed with, what your personal hot takes are. And if we get some good ones, I'll feature them in the next video as well. I'll pop them up right on the screen. So please comment away, call me an idiot, call me a genius, put your own thoughts out there, whatever. And now, without further ado, let's get in to hot take number 5.
Jordan Magee will change the defense.
How often is a player who doesn't play the center of conversation during an NFL season? Well, Jordan Magee has been that guy recently. And I, for one, am going to support the conversation. And you know why? Because Dan Quinn and Joe Whitt Jr. told me that I should. Now, I get it. This coaching staff, they play a lot of games. We had no clue. To this day, I have no idea what happened with Noah Brown over the summer. He got this mystery injury. There was the Terry situation. It's always, how's this player doing? Oh, they're hitting the markers. What do you think of this guy? Oh, we love their competitiveness and their toughness. It's all the same script. So anytime there's a deviation from that, I'm going to pay attention. So over the summer, Dan Quinn said the words, I remember they're burned into my memory bank. He said, Jordan Magee is just an awesome linebacker. That's not your standard. I like what I've seen from him. Oh, man, I can tell you he's working hard. Oh, I've been impressed with the growth. We know the Dan Quinn soundboard. He's got like 10 different phrases he says that he just cycles through pushing the button. Repeat the same thing over. There was a variation for Magee. He's an awesome linebacker. Okay, you've got my attention. I'm listening now. So when I hear Joe Whitt Jr. say that Jordan Magee was probably the best player of the whole summer at training camp, at least on the defense, what am I to make of that? I am to make of that. This is somebody the coaching staff really likes. Now, the tackling was really bad last week, but this whole team supposedly has been built, the whole defense has been built on the run and hit style. Who embodies that? How about Jordan Magee, who runs a 4.5, who has tackling range, who flashed in the preseason, who seemed like he was tailor-made to slide in and make up for some of the deficiencies the Commanders have in the middle of their defense. So I left this as a lukewarm take because I want to say this. Jordan Magee does not change the defense single-handedly. Jordan Magee is not the key to getting the Commanders to go from 28th in pass defense to top 10. He doesn't make their run defense elite on his own. In fact, the run defense has been better this season. But here's what I will say. The best pitchers in the world, it's not like, was it who said was it Bruce Lee who said, I would rather practice one kick, or I fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times more than the man that has practiced 10,000 kicks one time? I think it was Bruce Lee. I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I am. It's not like that if we think about a pitcher in baseball. You know those specialists who all they throw is a curveball? That's it. You get him as a middle inning reliever. That's great. But your ace, your guy who's going 7, 8, 9 innings in the playoffs, they got multiple pitches in their bag, multiple tools in their bag, multiple weapons in their repertoire. They got a fastball. They got a two-seamer. They got a splitter. They got a slider. They got a changeup. They got all this stuff. So the Commanders' defense right now, it's very simple because it's very easy to predict what's coming their way. Now the plays are going to change, and you're going to get pressure from different angles, and sometimes it's going to be match, sometimes it's going to be standard zone, sometimes it's going to be man. It's going to change up, but you know who's on the field. It's largely going to be a 4-2-5, and you're going to have the same guys occupying the same spaces. Jordan Magee adds another pitch into this arsenal with his speed, which is something that I campaigned for before the Falcons game. I understand that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. want to try to get you to believe that an older player plays faster than a younger player because they have more reps banked in, they have more experience, so they can diagnose the play and react to half step faster. That's probably correct. Bobby Wagner definitely moves his first step. He takes his first step a half second before Jordan Magee does. No doubt in my mind. How does he do when he has to run 70 yards down the field to catch Bijan Robinson? That's where I come back to this. Okay, so I'm not advocating for benching Wagner and starting Magee, but what I am saying is clearly an injection of speed in the middle of the field is needed. You want to talk about some of the limitations of this team, and I've had some great conversations in my comment section recently about how do we assign blame on the defense. Is it scheme? Is it coaching, which actually is a separate thing from scheme? Is it how you're communicating with the players in practice? Is it what's going in the playbook? Is it the players messing up? Is it the technique? Is it the fundamentals? Is it the intelligence of the players, the play recognition? All these different possible explanations for the breakdowns that we have seen. All of that's going on. What we have not discussed, is what this team would look like if you just had more speed in the middle of the field. Bobby Wagner's awesome going forward. Sideways and backward doesn't really have a place. And Frankie Louvu, they don't even really give him that opportunity because they know he can't do that. Can you imagine Frankie Louvu trying to run back and play the pole in Tampa 2? No chance. So I want to see Jordan Magee get his opportunities. I get their fears about him leading the defense if he's going in for Bobby Wagner because base doesn't seem to be an option. They don't really want to play 4-3, it seems like. So if he's going in this 4-2-5 in Wagner's spot and he's calling the plays, I understand that is a problem because you're worried about your communication, and the secondary in particular has been really bad with their communication. But I just think you have to get him on the field more because there's clear limitations with what this team can do, and you can assign blame to the defensive line. You can assign blame to the secondary, but part of it is the limitations in the middle of the field. That forces the defensive line, that forces the secondary into occupying certain positions before the ball is even snapped. So not a hot take because it doesn't change life, but I want to see it.
Jayden will save the day.
Jayden didn't have a great start to the season. I get it. The offense looked out of sorts against the Giants. The Packers game, probably the worst game of his NFL career, at least from what I've seen. It's that, and it's the Thursday night game. Ironically, the 2 Thursday night games that he's played, the one against the Philadelphia Eagles last year. He didn't start the year great. I got nothing but faith he's going to bounce back. Reports were he could have played against the Raiders if it was a playoff game. I commend the front office and the coaching staff for making the decision to make sure that they're not risking an injury at this point in his career, this early in the season and this early in his career. No, let's let him get the extra week off, extra 2 weeks off even. Let's make sure he's healthy so he can bounce back and go on the road. But this is a difficult game to walk right back into. This is the LA Chargers and their elite defense. They've suffered injuries. Totally get that. But an elite defense with an elite defensive coordinator, an elite head coach who's a defensive-minded guy on the road in California. Yes, that's Jayden's stomping grounds, right? But it is still traveling across the country. And while he might feel comfortable there, there's no guarantee the rest of the players do. And if the offensive line isn't playing as good or the receivers aren't playing as good, then that's going to make Jayden take a step back for that one game. So at this point, are you 2-3 looking at a stretch that includes at Cowboys, Bears, at Chiefs? If you go 2-1 in those games, which would be impressive, that brings you back to 500 for the year. So what do we define as saving the day? Is Jayden going to play better than Marcus Mariota? I would bet my bank account that he would. But saving the day for a team that was 12-5 last year and went to the NFC Championship game, from that perspective, no. He's not going to save the day. So I'm also leaving this as a bit of a mid, lukewarm take because, yes, the offense is obviously going to get better, okay? But we can't ask Jayden to just single-handedly change everything for this team every time he's on the field. I said it all throughout last season. For anybody that would listen to me, I had to turn on the TV and I had to listen to ESPN and Fox Sports and all these people. I had to listen to them say, man, it's such a stroke of genius to bring in these veteran leaders like Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz. Look at the play they've had. Oh, the offensive line is so much better than we expected. Look at the way that they can run the ball in these short yardage situations, the efficiency. Look at the improved play of the defensive line, yada, yada, yada. I would tell anybody who could listen to me, Jayden Daniels and the coaching staff, specifically DQ and Kliff Kingsbury, were working miracles. That's what last year was. And Jayden above the other two. Jayden was working miracles more times than not. Last year, when they got to that 12-5 record, they were surviving in a lot of one-score games, 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. That is relatively unprecedented. Jayden played the best that we've ever seen a rookie quarterback play. And if you're someone who disagrees with that, if you're a rival fan who's watching this video because you don't want to give the Commanders any compliments, there is no chance you can say it wasn't one of the 3 best rookie quarterback seasons that we've ever seen. So he's still at that standard. Now the schedule is much more difficult. I read off the Commanders' schedule the other day, but if we want to take another look at it, like I mentioned, your upcoming games, you are at Chargers, you've got the Bears, at Cowboys, at Chiefs. After that, it's the Seahawks in primetime, the Lions, in Spain against the Dolphins, Broncos, at Vikings, at Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, at Eagles. That is not an easy schedule by any stretch of the imagination. The way things are going right now, an 8-9 season looks the most likely. Now, Jayden's going to elevate. Okay, Jayden's going to be better than he was at the start of the year, but the players around him need to continue that improvement. The team wouldn't have gotten to 12-5 if the defense hadn't gotten better as the year went on last year. And it was still bad by the end of the year, but it did improve. So does Jayden save life? No. He makes the team better, but we can't continue to pile everything onto this young man's shoulders.
Kliff Kingsbury is his own worst enemy.
Okay, we're starting to heat up now. So I've loved a lot of the play designs this season and the execution, the scheming, Green Bay game not included. I feel like that goes without saying, okay? This Atlanta game, I said it in my game reaction, I put so little, hardly any of the loss on the offense because with the backup quarterback, you went on the road, you scored 27 points against a team that was top 5 in the NFL in EPA allowed per play. I actually was motivated by one of the comments on that video that basically said the Commanders offense didn't play well. Stop lying. I was thinking, no, the offense did play well. Now, I get it. Mariota threw an interception, but the offense played well. So I went back and I looked, and yards per play, yards per point, EPA, success rate. There were a couple of other things, but I looked at them, and they were all at what, in that game, if you applied that one game to the entire season, they would all rank in the top 10. So I was right. I was validated. I was vindicated. The offense did play well in that game. And Kliff Kingsbury deserves credit for that because working with no wide receiver 1, no wide receiver 2, no tight end 2, offensive line changes, no Austin Eckler, no Jayden Daniels. Hey, Kliff Kingsbury, you deserve a lot of credit. So when I say Kliff Kingsbury is his own worst enemy, Kliff Kingsbury is getting his own way, I'm talking about the running game here. Now, there's so much more that goes into being a good NFL running back than running the ball. As funny as it sounds, you got to be good in pass protection. You got to be able to catch out of the backfield. But when I look at what's going on with the Commanders running back room, I like the running back by committee style, okay? I'll be the first to say it. I do like having a committee. I like having guys to bounce off of one another. But Chris Rodriguez Jr. didn't play the first 2 games of the season. He comes back against the Raiders, and he records 11 carries. That's the most of any Commanders player this entire season. So we go ahead to week 4, and he's got an even split of carries with CROSKEY-MERRITT. And look, I like C-Rod. I want C-Rod to get his carries. But, man, Bill is special. All the advanced numbers will tell you that as far as his elusiveness, his broken tackle rate, his yards after contact. The eye test will tell you that. He creates lanes that don't exist. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up as you know what, because it's some 7th rounder who was a 0-star recruit out of high school who barely got to play in college after he left Alabama State, where he barely rushed for 500 yards in a season. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of nothing here. But Bill, when you watch him, my eyes know what they know. And then I can go to the numbers. They tell me the same thing. You give Bill the ball, good things happen. So when I say Kliff Kingsbury is his own worst enemy, why are we not leaning into this running game more? Ever since those offensive line changes happened with Chris Paul coming in for Nick Allegretti, or coming in for Brandon Coleman, and then Andrew Wiley coming in for Nick Allegretti, the offensive line has been so much more physical. They were overwhelming the Raiders at the point of attack, and they got nearly 2 yards before contact per carry against the Falcons. So once again, they were physical. They were doing a good job. The Commanders in that Falcons game only carried the ball 22 times, ran for 147 yards. That's 6.7 yards per carry. And that number is actually weighed down by Debo getting 9 yards on 3 carries. Jeremy McNichols getting 2 carries for 3 yards. C-Rod in this game, 7 carries for 59 yards. Bill, 7 carries for 47 yards. That's averages of 8.4 and 6.7 yards per carry. So again, Kliff Kingsbury, I say he's getting in his own way. Not that he's doing a bad job of orchestrating the offense. Again, the Green Bay game notwithstanding. But I'm saying he's getting in his own way because the running game is there. It's not like last season where everything had to go through the air. It's not like last season where Jayden had to do everything. Brian Robinson was going to get exactly what was drawn up for him. He wasn't going to make a man miss in the backfield. He wasn't going to find these holes the way that Bill does. He wasn't going to power through tackles the way that Chris Rodriguez Jr. does. So even moving forward, when Jayden comes back, when Terry McLaurin, when Noah Brown comes back, if Noah Brown ever gets healthy again, when all of these things happen, lean into the running game. That should be the identity of a team with a mobile quarterback. It should not be a pass-first team and the quarterback can then scramble out of the pocket and, we're going to hand it off every once in a while. Let's look at the other mobile quarterbacks in the league. Jalen Hurts, different style of runner. You're going to tell me the running game isn't a crucial piece of what they do up there in Philadelphia? How about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? They've got the highest run percentage in the league basically every single year. You look around the league, so many quarterbacks, not even running quarterbacks, but guys that are just mobile. The running game is heavily involved in what they do. It's rollouts, it's read options, it's designed runs, it's keepers, it's bootlegs, it's things like that, scrambles. It's such a heavy part of their game plan. And yes, Jayden gets a lot of scramble opportunities. In fact, he leads the league in it. But I want to see that balance shared with the running backs because I feel like this is the team, this committee can do it. At the very least, they deserve opportunities. I want to see a game where Bill gets 15 carries. I want to see a game where C-Rod gets 15 carries because their numbers this year are good. Chris Rodriguez Jr. is averaging 5.4 yards per carry this season. Bill CROSKEY-MERRITT is averaging 5.9. That's more than enough. Give them the ball. Let them go to work.
Adam Peters will clean house.
Some guys who are out of contract at the end of this season. Now, this is only starters or guys who play a lot of snaps. Out of contract at the end of this season, Debo Samuel, Noah Brown, Zach Ertz, Chris Paul, Dietrich Wise, Bobby Wagner, Von Miller, Jacob Martin. Guys, that's 8 people. Now you got guys who can be moved. Deron Payne is under contract for another year, but he's got a potential out for $11.2 million. If you keep him, he makes $28 million. Marshawn Lattimore is under contract for 1 more year, would cost $18 million to keep him, no penalty to cut him. And then you've got Will Harris, who is under contract, but you got an out for him for just $1 million next year. So we're already up to 11 guys. Don't know why I held up 3 fingers. 8 that are out of contract, another 3 who could be moved if you want to trigger the potential out. So that's 11 of your 22 starters that you have a legitimate opportunity to move off of. Also, how about some trade candidates? If the right offer comes in, are you turning it down for these guys? Terry McLaurin? A 31-year-old receiver who finally suffered an injury. We're going to see how long that he's out for. Looks like it's going to be a few weeks. A 31-year-old receiver who just suffered that injury, and the year after that is going to make a huge jump in pay. Do you want to get ahead of that and not get to that point where you're making the decision, oh gosh, do we cut him? Because if not, then it's going to be a big cap penalty. He's going to go up to like $35 million. No, let's get ahead of that 1 year early. Let's trade him. How about Quan Martin? Has anybody been impressed by Quan Martin this season? Now, I feel like this is less likely because he is on a rookie contract, but maybe you get solid compensation back. Maybe it's a day 2 pick, or maybe it's Quan's being traded in a package for a separate player who can improve your roster. I think that's something that sounds pretty agreeable to me. How about Andrew Wiley or Nick Allegretti? Now, this would most likely happen during the season because Andrew Wiley's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. But if a team says, hey, we just lost our starting guard or we lost our starting tackle, we need someone to come in and fill a role, or we need a top backup. If someone comes in and offers you a draft pick for Nick Allegretti or Andrew Wiley, I feel like you would be wise to accept that. A guy like Johnny Newton, because out of respect for him and the player that I believe he can become, the potential that he has, I wouldn't consider it at this moment, but maybe at the end of the season, I need to reconsider that. So we are now up to 15 or 16 guys who could be cut, not brought back on a new deal, or potentially traded. And these 15, 16 guys, they're all in the Commanders' top 26, 27 sort of guys. So when I say clean house, we're talking about close to 50, maybe 50% of the key contributors not being on this roster again next year. Now, for the sake of continuity, you don't want to completely overhaul a roster. You don't want to get rid of all of these guys. But if I'm looking at this, how many did I identify? Would I say 15, 16 guys? Do I feel like 9, 10 of them could be gone? It's on the board. Debo, it's going to come down to money. If he wants a big contract, you're probably not going to give it to him. Noah Brown, I'm going to put him up as 1 and say he's not coming back. Zach Ertz, it might suck. It really might. And we'll have to see what happens with Ben Sinnott. But you're paying money, solid money, to John Bates, who's a tight end number 2. Are you going to want to bring Zach Ertz? If in an ideal world, no. You'll get around it. As much as we love Zach Ertz, and as incredibly thankful as I am to him for what he's done with this team. Chris Paul, if he keeps playing like this, Chris Paul's getting brought back. Dietrich Wise, we know he's not coming back. Well, I shouldn't say we know that, but considering he's older, considering he's coming off of a season-ending injury, I'm just going to assume no. Bobby Wagner, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting discussion to be had. Look, Bobby's done an excellent job at what he can do, but you see him going downhill physically relatively quickly. His skills, technique, leadership, mentality, intelligence, it's all as sharp as it's ever been. But the physical ability is starting to go downhill relatively quickly. And Bobby Wagner is the type of guy that if he's on the team, he's going to be out there. He's got the green dot. He's the signal caller. He's going to be out there every play. So when you're drafting guys like your Kane Madranos and your Jordan Magees, you're drafting this next generation of linebackers. Maybe you sign someone in free agency. Where are they going to get on the field? How are they going to get on the field? It's not going to happen. So if you ask me right now, is Bobby Wagner on this team next year? Incredibly appreciative of Bobby. He has not done anything wrong. I'm going to say no, he's not. So now we're up to 4 guys. Von Miller, he's not coming back. Jacob Martin, there's a chance. If you can get him for cheap, maybe. He's been solid so far this season. We'll see. Marshawn Lattimore, not going to be on this roster. There's just simply no way I can see it happening. I think they're going to try to trade him now. I think they'll try to trade him in the offseason. And if they can't, I think they'll cut him. It's either pay him $18 million or cut him for no penalty. $0 to walk away from Marshawn Lattimore. That's what I'm doing. Will Harris, feel like he's the most likely of the guys who have the potential outs. I think you're going to try to trade Daron Payne. I would actually encourage it unless Daron Payne keeps playing at this level for the entire season, every single game. I don't want to pay Daron Payne $28 million when I'm giving that money to Javon Kinlaw already, and I drafted Johnny Newton in the second round. Plus, I could probably get a solid draft pick back for Daron Payne. So I just ran through this, and I've got to like 8 or 9 guys. I would say I'm relatively confident, or at the very least, I would be making a decision to move on. So Adam Peters cleaning house this offseason, regardless of how the season goes, really, this is pretty hot to me. I think this is happening.
The Commanders' first pick will be an edge rusher.
So there are a lot of areas that you could address with this first round pick next year. You need a new receiver. You need a new edge rusher. You need a new linebacker. You need a new cornerback. Any 4 of those positions, it's going to be tough for me to be frustrated. Quarterback's obviously not happening. Running back, first round, too early for me. It just is. If Ashton Genty was there, maybe, even though I probably would still say no, but he's not. Jeremiah Love, look, I love Jeremiah Love. He's awesome. I don't think he's going to be on the board in the Commanders pick. And considering the other areas of need, I would say no. It's like, it's window shopping. It's like, oh man, that looks awesome. I would love to come back and buy you and get you out of here, but then I would have to be financing my rent, and that's going to create some credit problems for me in the future. That's how I feel about Jeremiah Love right now. So I look at these areas of need. Receiver, you did just pay Terry. You can survive with a great quarterback with lesser receivers. You can go sign some guys. You did already draft Jalen and Luke. So let's hold off there. So now you've basically got your pick of the defense. Defensive tackle should be taken care of with Johnny Newton and Javon Kinlaw. Maybe Payne if he sticks around. Safety should be taken care of in terms of, look, we've got guys there. Will Harrison, Quan Martin, they can start. There are clear areas need to address. Now, you drafted 2 corners already, Mike Sainristil and Trey Amos. You have not drafted an edge rusher, aside from Javonte Jean-Baptiste with a 7th round pick, but he can't stay healthy. And we got confirmation the other day, by the way. We got confirmation from Dan Quinn on Monday that this is looking like a months-long, not a weeks-long sort of injury. So the need for an edge rusher is there in every phase. It was needed in the past. Last season, you needed that edge rusher. You didn't have him. It's needed in the present. You already signed Preston Smith to help your rotation. Now you might need to go sign another guy who's at home on his couch working out, waiting for that call. You need a guy in the future. Not only is this edge rusher rotation starless, and when they go against a great offensive line, they're going to have problems. Heck, they had problems creating pressure. They played a good game, did a good job against the run, held their integrity, but they only got 1 sack against the Falcons, and that was from a linebacker, Frankie Louvu. So you need that guy to take over the game. And who are these edge rushers who are here right now? Because let's say you're comfortable having the rotation. Okay, there's a world in which I could see it working. Well, Dorrance Armstrong is 28 years old, I believe. Dietrich Wise is 30, 31. He's probably not coming back. Jacob Martin, I believe, is in his 30s. He might not be coming back. Von Miller's 36. He's not coming back. You need somebody there. And so when I go ahead and I look at the upcoming free agency class for edge rushers versus cornerbacks, there's more depth at that cornerback spot as far as free agents go. Plus, like I already mentioned, you drafted Sainristil and you drafted Trey Amos. You did your best to address that room. Now you just got to let them be. You got to see how they develop, give them a couple of years. And if you need to go back and recognize you made a mistake with them, then you can do that. But edge rusher is yet to be addressed. Edge rushers are starting to become almost as important as quarterbacks. If you don't believe me, go look at what they're making. Myles Garrett's making $40 million a year. TJ Watt's making $41 million. Michael Parsons now making $47 million a year. You know what that means? That means in the next 2 to 3 years, whoever gets this next big edge rusher contract, they're going to be making close to, if not $50 million a year. Edge rushers are the most important position on the entire defense. And you can draft a Pat Surtain or a Quinyon Mitchell, an elite shutdown corner. If they're sitting back there for 5-6 seconds and your pass rush isn't getting home, the receiver is going to get open. Elite corners are elite because they will shut you down for 3-4 seconds on a play. There's no corner in the world who's going to shut down a receiver when their pass rush is not getting home and the quarterback can just stand in the pocket and pat the football and have their pick. Plus, an edge rusher can ruin a game. You can go line up over 3 technique, go from the middle. You can bend off the edge. You can force the quarterback to roll out. You can get a sack fumble. You can lead the quarterback into one of your teammates. With a cornerback, an elite cornerback, yeah, you shut down one part of the field, but there's other guys to throw to. If your edge rusher's elite, maybe they attract double, even triple teams. That opens it up for the other players on the defensive line to get single blocking or maybe no blocking. Maybe the running back picks up the guy with the short line of the quarterback and you've got a free rusher off the edge. For all of these reasons, that makes me say an edge rusher has to be the number 1 position the team addresses in the draft. You look, I'll close with this. You look at the other elite defenses in the NFL, pretty much all of them have elite/very good edge rushers. They don't necessarily also have that with their corners. So I'm going based off of Super Bowl odds here. The Bills, well, they've got Rousseau and Bosa. The Eagles, now look, they have a great secondary too, but they've got Jalen Carter, who's not an edge rusher, but he's good at getting after the quarterback. They've got Nolan Smith, and we know the people they've had there in years past. The Packers, they've got Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. The Lions, they've got Aiden Hutchinson. Now, the Ravens are the exception to the rule, but their secondary is also playing horribly as well. Nobody on that defense is playing good. The Chiefs, not an edge rusher again, but a pass rusher in Chris Jones. And also George Karlaftis is pretty good. And then the Rams, you got Verse, Young, Fisk, and Turner. You got guys who apply pressure to the quarterbacks. The Commanders don't have that right now. They need to address that area more than any else in the upcoming draft. And yeah, that is going to do it for this week's edition of the Tuesday Hot Takes. So I'm going to get on out of here before you guys do. Again, if you have not hit that like button already, please do that. It takes 2 seconds out of your day, helps me out tremendously. Homework time, turn it in. Comment section right now. What do you think of the hot takes? Were they good? Were they bad? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And what are some of your personal hot takes? Don't be PC here. Now, don't say anything crazy, okay? Don't get yourself in trouble, but don't be afraid to share what you actually believe. They're hot takes. There's an element of risk, and if you end up with egg on your face, that's part of it, okay? It's hot takes. We're not trying to look who can be the most standard here. Oh, I think if we run for 400 yards, we'll win next week. No, give me something real. Give me something creative. I will be reading all the comments. I'll be responding to as many as possible. I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you. And as I always say, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.